Well, hello people, and welcome back to part 2 of our Cities Skylines 2 Let's Play. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Going to get started today with a little road time lapse. We're going to open up some tiles to the west of the map here, just to expand some of those arterial networks, so we can just have room basically to zone up some low density residential whenever that demand begins to spike. But today we're going to be playing with a little local industrial harbour, building it on the opposite side of the river inlet that we terraformed earlier, and doing some really cool things with the stone mining specialised industry, which is a really fun way to kind of repurpose an asset. So I'm sure we'll also stumble across many more ways to do this as well as we continue to play Cities 2. But either way, fun episode coming up, please enjoy it, and I'll catch you in there. So welcome everyone to the brand new named Edinburgh, courtesy of our wonderful YouTube member and Patreon subscriber Ott. So thank you for the suggestion, buddy, really appreciate it. And everyone was really on board with that, right? Because of course we're on the Great Highlands map, which is inspired by Scotland. So Edinburgh is a very much of a fitting name. However, we also had another suggestion for Whiskey River, and I really like this idea, so I think what we will do is actually name this river here the Whiskey River, and then this town here that we made in the first episode is going to become the town of Whiskey, I think, which is really appropriate again for the Scottish theme. So let's draw up our new district creation tool here, and I think we'll kind of do kind of like central Whiskey here, kind of downtown Whiskey, and then we'll do kind of a outer lying area of it where we've expanded some suburban frames in the start of today's episode. So let's get this new district set up. Cool, so we now have this one named to be Whiskey Centre, and officially this is the Whiskey River. So I guess in that case we also need to name the other two major rivers that are in this little map, so I'll leave it up to you guys. Leave me some river name suggestions down below as well. But we'll certainly get involved in some policies here when we unlock them. So what I want to do in today's episode is our production chain at the minute is in enormous deficits because we have no specialised industry. So we really need timber. And more importantly, we need rock, because you can see that rock, when it's processed through an industrial area, it turns into concrete. Now, if we have a look at our material goods, we can also see that concrete is used for building upkeep, which is really important, because if you can't upkeep your buildings, they're just going to end up collapsing and abandoning. So that's something I really want to work on today. So I want to start establishing some more industrial infrastructure around Whiskey River. So let's open up these two tiles here. Again, just a huge fan of the new tile system. How much more freeing is it, just being able to unlock whatever you want? Really like it. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, I want to create kind of a little harbour here. So let's get involved and start doing some terraforming first of all. So again, I don't want to be too far off the waterline here. So let's go for 4 or 5 contour lines up, I think. Something like that should do me. And now I just want to level this out to where I want my harbour to sit, essentially. Cool, so that's going to give us a general kind of harbour shape. Now, I don't want to get into the habit of doing these retaining wall roads everywhere, because I feel like that's going to make things look a little bit too artificial. So I think on occasion we will just do kind of the dirt embanked roads rather than using the retaining wall things all the time. And we will use them for like major kind of cargo container ports, but for a little kind of regional harbour like this, I don't think they're going to be needed, but I think we'll find out anyway. So what I want to do with the stone mining thing is actually draw in some road frames first of all to hold this specialised industry. So let's come in from here, that should be okay I think, and then we'll let this run up through here for right now. We'll arrange a connection into the harbour later on, and then let's say that we're happy with this general shape. Let's bring it across by 112 metres so we're getting those back-to-back zones, and we'll also let it hook around into this one as well. Let's do that one, let's do 176 meters this time, hook it back into that central spine. So I almost want this stone industry to kind of function as like it's holding aggregate or some kind of gravel or I guess it could also hold rocks as well. But I want it to be on the water, almost as if it's kind of waiting to be loaded onto a barge, is my thinking here. Is kind of how I want to repurpose this. So let's see how this works out. Let's go into our specialized industry, and we want to grab stone mining, so you don't need ore to actually process this. So I'm just thinking, where's going to be the best place here? So possibly there, I think. And now let's run this to fill this entire road frame that we just set up. Something like that should be okay. And now what I want to do, once that's down, is I want to come in with a little bit of terraforming. We're going to grab our shift terrain tool. We're going to come down to a small brush size with a small brush strength as well. And then I just want to start essentially creating piles within the stone texture itself, okay? So a few shift terrains here and there. It's going to take a little while to get in there, but then I think some softened terrain around those smaller elevations will kind of make it look as though it's I think kind of a pile decal from the Cities 1 workshop if you're ever into your assets. And I think we can almost make it look like it's a pile of aggregate just by doing a little bit of terraforming it once it's in. And I think against the harbour on the waterline, this is going to be a really cool way, I think, to factor in a little bit of industry into our specialised industry, I guess. So I hope everyone's going to be on board with this, because I think we can certainly see ourselves doing it further down the line. So it eventually leaves us with something that looks a little bit like that from the waterline, which I think is pretty cool, and a bit more nicer way to use the stone farming. So that will now give us stone, which is really nice. That's exactly what we want. So now let's configure an entrance into the port. So coming off the national road is going to be the most sensible here. Let's go ahead and get a slope terrain tool. So we'll grab it from this way, and we'll just kind of slope out this general area as a way in and out of the little regional harbour here today. Cool. So something like that should be good. Really looking forward to doing so many more Cities 2 videos for you guys. We've got public transport to come as well, like we've got bus terminals and little intricate kind of bus designs. It's going to be a lot of fun. Really looking forward to it. Cool, so I guess actually we could just put a little roundabout in here for right now. Now, we probably want a larger one than that, so this is probably a good point to spend a development point on roundabouts. So let's do that now. And then we'll grab large roundabout here, I think, is what I want to happen. I'd also like to get highway roads at some point as well, but I think we'll save that for another episode because I want to kind of spend a good bit of time working with highway roads. Cool, so let's bring this down. Let's just kind of, I guess we'll just meander down toward it in a little kind of switchback style. Cool, so that's going to give it functionality. Hopefully we will have a little bit of industrial zoning come in today. That would be quite nice. Also trim back this as well, so it looks a little more on theme. So we've got some high density residential demand for the first time. So I think we'll go use some of our new low cost, low rent housing for that. So we've also got a lot of people whinging about not enough customers right now, but again, it is still not working as intended, I don't believe. But I'd love to replace one of these gas stations with some high rent housing. We'll get kind of a tower block on the main street here as you come into town, I think. But at least in the beta, I found that surrounding not enough customers with low rent housing, because there's a lot of people living there, tend to help kind of balance things out a little bit. But we'll see how that goes. So these guys, of course, want their services, so that's just because they're not hooked into the national road, isn't it? So let's grab both pipes and we'll put them over here. Should hopefully see them through. They're also whinging of power. So now I wonder if it's a time we want to bring in our own proper power supply now. I'm just going to place the small coal power plant here and kind of envision what that could look like against our major port. Because my eventual plan is to relocate a lot of this industry over here. I don't think I mind that there, you know. It would be a good idea though if we could also start exporting this power to make a little bit of money. So the outside power connection's over here at the minute, which isn't too much of a problem. It'd involve us bringing an external power line across this direction, which I don't think is going to be the most horrendous thing. With that in mind then, I want to create a little holding road where I can put my power plant down. So why don't we go for this one here? Seems the most natural extension, doesn't it? So we'll have that there. So let's just pop this over here. and then we will start to export a lot of this spare power. Now, I envision eventually we'll rework this outside power line, but for right now, that's the only access we have to it. But I think that's going to make us a little bit of money if we can start exporting a lot of our electricity that's being produced from the coal plant over here. So I think I'm going to be on board with that. I think I'm going to enjoy it. Okay. That's not too bad. So we've got a tiny little bit of industrial demand and office demand right now as well. So let's start exploring these. I wouldn't mind a little bit of office space here, but let's definitely grow out some industry against the side of the power plant. And that'd be nice to have that grow up there. I also want to get quite a lot of trees here as well between the National Road and the port as well, just so it's kind of sheltered a little bit. So let's get some oaks knocking around here. I'm going to use that same technique we did last episode, just keep switching up the tree with a bush kind of coverage, and then before you know it, after a few trees and a little bit of bush, you will have a relatively sort of natural looking forest. And hoping one day that we do get that proper forest brush functionality implemented into CS2. It's hard going back from it when we've been using it for so long in CS1. But how are we doing here? Everyone seems to be okay, don't they? Traffic's flowing nicely for right now, so that roundabout will do us. Let's see how our new tower block's getting on the main street. It is still growing. I do need to remember to leave the game on 3 speed here. Yeah, I'm happy with that. We've still got a little bit more demand for this low rent housing, haven't we? So let's explore some possibilities around these little bits of commercial that haven't grown up. I think I'd be happy to have some in there. Cool. So we'll see if that affects it. Oh, we're moving into autumn now as well. How tremendous. You can see the changing of the trees here too. I'm so glad they added autumn into the game before it released. Believe me, when we found that out, I was straight into that early access server like, how dare you? Where the hell are my autumn trees? I need them. But thank God they're here, right? It'd be really nice to see a little bit of autumnal Edinburgh, won't it? Have a look at some of our shops around here as well. What have we got going on? We've got the petrol pony. Guessing you're selling cars, right? That's actually a very good name for a car, isn't it? The petrol pony. And then we've got Spasm next door. What are you selling? Electronics, okay. Did not think it would be selling electronics with that name, but that's fine. This isn't going too bad. I'd like some more trees, I think, between these buildings here. So let's do that while we're on the subject of trees. Let's get some oaks knocking around. Or green bushes too. So hopefully these aren't going to collapse now. They should be able to maintain their average wealth. And speaking of, let's have a look at our patrons as well. And a load of them have died. we had so many more last episode. So what's Josh up to? Josh is a poorly educated employee at Walmsbury's. He is wealthy though. He's living at 37 Maple Street. Okay, he's just moved in here. He's just moved house. And then Mando is a educated employee who's doing wealthy. He's living at 67 Beach Street. Let's see where Mando's living. Mando's over here in this apartment block on Main Street too. Very interesting. Okay then, we definitely need to name some more patrons then, because half of them have died already. So now we have Earl, who is going to become Richard Francis. Thank you so much for all your support, Rich. A very long time supporter of the channel. Indeed, the longest serving patron as well. Thank you, mate. Really appreciate it. So now we'll follow Rich around as well, see what he gets up to. We've got Edward Harrington, who's going to become Steve Goodwin. Also one of our moderators. Thank you so much for all your support, Brassack. Really appreciate it, mate. We'll make sure we follow you as well. Looks like William Higgins is also going to become Casino, another one of our wonderful moderators and very long time channel supporter. And thank you for all your support, buddy. Really appreciate you. We'll see what you get up to in Edinburgh as well. And then last but not least for this episode, we've also got Ross Hicks, who's one of our very long time patron supporters. Big shout out to Dingoes. Thank you for all your support, Ross. Really appreciate you, buddy. That's enough patrons for today. We'll keep up to date with you guys as to what you get up to in Edinburgh. And of course, we'll keep adding more of you as time progresses as well. Don't forget, if you want to be named, you can check out our Patreon page down below. You get a couple of perks and benefits from our Patreon support, so it does help support these videos. So either way, let's head back toward our little regional port over here. So we've got some industry now growing up alongside the plant here. We've also got these guys who are producing metal ore. There you go. So see this guy? He's going to require rock. He's going to turn that into concrete for us. That's really good. So hopefully now, as time ticks on, we should notice... There we go. We now actually have a surplus of concrete, which is nice. So I'd rather not get involved in too much farming today, just because I want to kind of do that as its own separate episode, setting up the farm district of whiskey. But we could definitely do some timber, because we've got a pretty chunky deficit of that as well. Alongside coal as well. We don't have access to coal right now, do we? No, the next milestone we will do though, but that'll be a different episode, I think. We do also need ore for that as well, so let's actually just have a little scan ahead as to where that might possibly go. Okay, there's big ore deposits up here, so I reckon we can probably open up some tiles over here eventually and set up an ore mine in town. Hopefully that sounds like fun to you guys. Let me know if you want to see that. But that's fine. Let's go ahead now and set up a little bit of forestry, which I'm not overly enamored with, but it's essential for the production chain, so we'll go ahead and get it in. Let's bring a little alleyway here off of this main national highway here, or the couplet system that comes out of whiskey. So let's just do this while we're here. We'll go for, I think it was 2 meter split here, wasn't it? Something like that. Yeah, there we go. So let's have you, again, where do I want this to go? We've already got arterial networks coming over toward the river here and down this side, so I think veering off to the left would be overkill. I think we might just keep it straight and kind of head down toward this valley. Maybe split it off eventually somewhere a little bit further down there. We've also got fertile land up here as well, so I'd love to have the aesthetic of the couplet system flowing kind of through the farmland. So I think we'll just keep it going straight on. And we'll set up those farms at some point. We might do that today's episode, I don't know. It's kind of interesting, you know, being a content creator, how to format episodes now, because the game at the start plays a little differently, but either way I hope you're enjoying it. Cool, so we'll have this little alleyway there, and why don't we treat this as a country road? Why don't we just kind of meander it through here, and we'll get some forest around this, and can we just hook it in here? See how that performs as a bit of a just supplementary support exit. I'm not expecting a vast amount of traffic to come down it. I mean, it won't at the minute anyway, because there's nothing for it to go down to. But I guess we could fix that with a little asymmetrical connection, maybe. Asymmetrical is probably not necessary, just go for one way. So there, we'll see if anyone uses it anyway, but the reason I did want this road in is to actually plan in some forestry. So let's bring down a little dirt road here. Okay, we'll have our forestry building on the corner, and we'll also complement this with a tiny little bit of industry. Now I know we're building on a groundwater deposit here, but I'm not planning to use it, so it's not really an issue. Get a couple little bits of industry going, and then we'll do our forestry here too. So let's place this right on the corner, and again we'll just let it run up to the edges of the road here. So if you are going to do this node thing against the road, you want to make sure you're doing lots of little increments. It's more noticeable with the fields, but I guess it's a nice kind of habit to get into early, I guess, isn't it? Cool, so if we do that. Now sometimes your forestry building will do this, it's, I guess, a bug. So hopefully by the time you guys are playing along, if not already, then it's been fixed. You just need to drop it and redraw it in again. That gives us 194 tons of harvestable resources, and you'll notice the ground ever so slightly changes colour. That's about as much as what happens with forestry, which is a little bit of a shame. I'm really hoping that gets a patch or something just to improve the look of it, because it's quite underwhelming at the minute, isn't it? Cool. So that we'll let that go. That's going to tick over for a little bit. Let's return over back to the harbour here, because I'd like to continue expanding some road frames out for it. Let's bring this one over, and then we're going to come here. I think we are. And we'll do slightly thinner kind of little port up here. So we could do another one of these, I don't know what I'm going to call it, aggregate dump, I guess, might be the most appropriate word for that. Not entirely sure. But we do have some more industry demands, so let's go ahead and zone up some more industry space to hopefully keep processing all this concrete. Nice to get some warehouses over here as well. And I would like to develop a little bit of an office park for it too. So let's say the waterfront stuff is mainly industry. And then around this side here, so let's come out by, we'll leave 3 tiles between the current existing road frames. Let's go for that there. Bring it down to this one as well. And then here is where I'd like some of that office space to develop. So, well, when the demand comes back for it anyway. So we'll leave some chunkier office blocks here. Doesn't need to be anything massive. That should be okay. We'll get a pathway running between these as well. And then let's do some trees. Now I'd like to plant my own, so I'm going to remove some. Those little rocks as well. Like, why can't I place those? I really want to place some rocks. Like, they're in the game. Just give them to me, please. But either way, I think we'll do a little spruce pattern here between the office park and the industry. Just to create a little kind of dedicated office park space. So we'll get some commercial out here as well, so people can grab lunch, etc. So I'm happy with that there. We'll eventually grow up there too. And I guess we should also drop some parking in for them as well. People are going to come over and work over here, so we'll have a parking lot next door to our power station. And again, we'll just bring in some pathways around this to help people move around what is essentially kind of a local industrial estate, I guess, by the water, right? I think that's the best way of describing what this is. Again, we've got a little bit more of that industry zoning demand coming in now, so why don't we get some over this end? And I'd like it to be a little bit waterfront, so let's start zoning up here. We'll wait for a lot of this to grow and develop over time. We're getting a few folks still complaining of high rent. Let's see if we can do something to help with this. Again, I'm a little reluctant to say this is what will work and this is what won't work when there's clearly still bugs operating in the game, so we'll do some adjustments and see if it helps, but yeah, we'll just sort of see what happens with it. Let's also check our industrial zone as well. Let's bring this down a little bit. So if we wanted to, I guess we could help encourage a concrete deficit, couldn't we, by bringing that down? Bring rock and concrete down a little bit. Let's glance back at our production chain too. So we're still in a pretty chunky deficit of wood per month, aren't we? And we'll unlock some vegetables and livestock and all the farming stuff, I think, in a separate episode when we do that. But right now I want to focus mainly on the concrete, which is helping to maintain a lot of these towers over here. So let's just refer to our demand here again as well now. Let's go ahead and get some more people down. So we're going to use some more apartment blocks. And again, I want to start creating some density in the downtown district here. So let's start doing that. Start getting in some larger tower blocks on the corners. And eventually we'll be able to mix this in with a bit of commercial, a bit of high density office space as well to create some towers here one day. Let's also give them some development points to spend on their spare time, because we haven't really done much of that, have we? Let's come into parks. Let's grab park maintenance. So the park maintenance service keeps all parks, plazas and other recreational facilities clean and in good condition. That's great news. And then let's go for sports parks, I think, first of all. And we'll save some development points. I don't like to use them all just in case I decide I want to do something at some point and we're a long way from another milestone. So let's drop some parks around for people. Let's first of all do our park maintenance depot. And I think we'll do this over here. We'll allow our park maintenance people to operate out of this space. Let's see what this building looks like. I'd say it's relatively industrial looking, isn't it? Why don't we move it into this space over here though? That seems like possibly a better idea, doesn't it? Let's move it up to the road though so we don't have that gap. There we go. We'll have our park maintenance depot there. So I want to check if anyone's using this little exit yet. Yeah, he's just coming down into it, isn't he? Where are you going? Transporting the Larson family. Okay, that's not too bad. Oh, yeah, yes, but anyway, let's give some people some parks. So, got some tennis courts. Let's go ahead and get some knocking around in here. Can we bring a basketball court in there too? Very nearly, actually. Or we could just do 3 tennis courts. I think we might do that, actually. And then, again, let's get some more apartment blocks coming in. Hopefully a lot of these new apartments will bring customers to these people complaining of not enough customers. We'll wait and see, of course. But it has satisfied those demands at least initially, so that's good. I get some water complaints now as well, so let's see what's wrong with you. We now hit the water availability, as we have already. Is that a budgeting issue we can possibly look at? Because we can bring it up. We can also increase the service fee as well. How does that affect our demands? Very, very slightly. It's not a vast amount, is it? In which case, then it could be time to add a water pumping station into the equation, which I don't think I'm going to mind, although I don't want it there. I guess we could make it, if we were to have it here. No, it just wants a little service road to it, doesn't it? So I think we'll just use the alleyway for that. Bring that down into there. Does that sort out our water demand? Yeah, it does. Okay. So very minimal impacts from those service fees there, isn't it, that we just looked at? Very slightly increase the capacity, so I think we'll bring that down to 100. I guess we could lessen it. It's going to increase citizen happiness a little bit, isn't it? Let's do a 52% service fee. Shouldn't impact too much production, I don't think. Cool, so let's keep all this industry growing up. I definitely want these little sort of piers filled out today, if you like. Some of that office starting to grow up now as well. It's quite cool, isn't it? See what these guys are doing. They're requiring software for financial products, and then we've also got software for media product as well. A service we haven't placed down yet is also a police station, isn't it? Yeah, we definitely need a police station in the town. And hopefully one of these little frames here is going to fit it. Looks like it is. Do we want it kind of on the main street here, maybe? Or a little bit off to the side. Let's go for here, I think. That should be okay. I'll start sending patrol cars out. We did have a crime scene over here. So we've lost a few of those high rent people now. A few have popped up. A lot of people living here now, though, isn't there? I'd also like some of this office space to appear in kind of downtown as well. So let's get some growing in these spaces without actually removing the ones that we have in already. That'd be helpful. Let's also kind of preempt a little bit of growth here too. Let's get some more commercial growing around the apartments. I mentioned this low density stuff here on Main Street is eventually going to be upgraded into high density. But for right now, low density will be fine. We're not after a major skyline yet anyway. Cool, so this is fun. I'd also like to upgrade this little elevated section here that we set up in the road frame last episode into a pedestrian pathway. So I think that is what we're going to do. I think this will be quite nice when it's all walkable and got people around it. We'll put some parks on here as well, actually, to try and encourage a little bit of use out of it. We'll do this as pedestrian pathway too. And I guess also up here might be a good shout for that as well. Can we go invalid shape? Why is that? What's stopping you there? Nothing. You're apparently fine now. That's alright then. So yeah, we'll just bring that straight down from the main road. Only want to snap to 90-degree angle here. To get something that looks like that. And then if we use some of our parks that we've got, let's go for a couple of basketball courts along here maybe. A bit of recreational space and a skate park as well. Let's also start bringing some pathways across here as well. Looks like that's a pedestrian crossing on a pedestrian pathway, is it? Or pedestrian road? I guess so. Okay, and now would I mind the possibility of some apartments on the waterfront here? Let's try stick with 3 deep, see if we can get a little bit of a repeated pattern going. I think that'll be served best here. We'll see what happens with it. I want to make sure we keep satisfying this medium density demand at least. Let's get some larger tile blocks in. I think we're going to see quite a lot of asset repetition just till things start to get a little bit higher level, which will come with time, I hope. Also want to save space around here as well for a bus terminal. I'll do some bus stuff soon as well. Which, speaking of, I guess we could also save space as well for the bus depot over in the regional harbour. I think this is going to be a good spot for it, isn't it? But again, yeah, I think we'll do that next time. We could also get taxis going as well. They're quite a bit cheaper than buses, so why don't we do some taxis too? How about here? Let's have a look at our taxi depot. Do we want to save room for upgrades here? 1 on the side, and then it's 2 internal upgrades after that. Okay, and then let's go and place some taxi stands. So we've got a taxi shelter. And then we've got taxi stand. So let's do some taxi shelters on Main Street. We'll also do some down here as well. People are enjoying this. And then definitely in and around downtown we'd certainly like some, but let's go for just a regular taxi stand here. And a couple further down. I guess maybe down toward the industry as well, in case people want to catch a cab to work, then they can. And that should be enough coverage, I think, for taxis for right now. I don't really want taxi stands on like suburban residential streets. That would be a little bit weird, I think. So we won't put them there. Otherwise, we can spend some time basking in a autumnal Edinburgh. We would like it, like the mix of how the pines and the conifers aren't changing colour either. It helps kind of break up what can be pretty relentless orange if you're only using kind of oak trees or hickories, something like that. And let's get this little treed Main Street growing now as well. These trees starting to come to full size, hopefully. We've also added in another forestry area over here as well, just off to the side here, because we're still just trying to make a deficit. Yeah, we've really brought that deficit down now for logs. Again, we'll spend some time. When is it we unlock those textiles farming? Milestone 6 is textiles. We get vegetables at 5. We also get coal at 5 as well. Okay. So these people ended up abandoning this one here due to small homes. That's just a symptom of low rent housing. High crime, apparently, they had here. Do we have high crime? Maybe that's just because we didn't have the police station down. Lack of entertainment as well. Well, you'll get it eventually. It's fine. Do we have any crime stats we can take a look at here? Yeah, we got really high average crime probability, haven't we? Would you look at that? There's really high crime over there. I wonder why that is. I wonder what causes that. Yeah, high crime. We have really high crime, don't we? Do we already need more patrol cars then? Do we want to possibly upgrade this? What's this going to give us? More space for police vehicles for additional 18 grand? I feel like that might be necessary already, you know. That's going to give us an extra 6 vehicles to patrol. Hopefully that's going to bring a very high crime rate down. I've got a little European police cars here as well. I haven't really seen these. Every time I've played, I've always chosen North American. They're really nice, aren't they? There they go. Wonderful news. Look at this as well. What's this? Look at that. Look at that for a commercial unit. That's really nice, isn't it? I have never seen that one before. A little level 3 lodge hotel. Lodges Travels. That's really nice. Yeah, so you definitely get much more kind of cooler variation, don't you? See, let me historical that. That's really nice. Requires food for lodging. That's really cool. No, didn't expect to be so blown away by a hotel, but there we go. Hey, that does give us the 5th milestone as well, which gives us a lot of important things, doesn't it? Plus a lot more money, which is nice. We also get the radio mast here too, which is really cool. Mailboxes and postal service, plus mixed use as well. We finally got mixed use. We'll definitely do a lot of that in the downtown as well, I think. Got a bit more industry zone in here as well, and I think this is going to be a good point for a detailed time lapse because our regional port here is starting to come together. And I don't want to start doing too much in like small episodes. I want to see if we can kind of keep it build as usual. But either way, it feels like a good place for a small detailed time lapse. Going to bring some more trees and forest around here, terraform out the landscape that we've tried to plan out here. Probably give the port a bit more of a harsher forest boundary too, I think. Bring in some more apartments, I think, along the pedestrian front here. Just to keep satisfying that medium density demand and get some pathways moving around, a few trees as well. And generally try to fill out these spaces, and hopefully that crime rate's going to come down as well. And then we might also have a little adjustment of our taxes as well, because we're getting not many people complaining of high rent anymore, so that's a sign for me to start slowly bringing it up a little bit. I'm not right at the minute. I think we can definitely afford to increase industrial, can't we? Bring that up a little bit. Office too, we're paying office tax now also. Bring that up to 20 or so. Otherwise, it's nice to see Edinburgh expand, isn't it? Let's do some detailing, and then we'll be right back. Okay guys, so during our detailing we actually unlocked a residential building, the condos, which I really want to add in on our main couplet system here. It's a really nice asset, isn't it? It's got a cute little fountain at the back as well. But I think we'll definitely have this in along our little hedge next door. So really starting to bring some density into this area now, some more low rent housing as well. I've also drawn in some livestock farming as well, just so we can start making a bit of a deficit in this one here. We got 7% surplus now, or 7-ton surplus. And then next episode, we'll probably do a whole episode on farming and setting up kind of like a farming district for whiskey. So we'll do wheat, vegetables and textiles then. But we have made at least a bit of a production for wood here. You can see still how much stone we do need. So 24-ton deficit there. I imagine will be importing a lot of that, but 72-ton production a month still isn't enough to dive into it. So we'll definitely partner some more stone farms around the map as well. But slowly making a deficit into it. We're down to minus 1,100 now as well, so we're slowly but surely coming into the green. This is the current tax arrangement that you're seeing here. We're getting no people complain of high rent, so again it could probably be tweaked a little bit. But for right now we are slowly crawling out, and those government subsidies and cash injections from the milestones are also helping us along as well. Dropped in the radio mass as well. We did actually unlock that with the 5th milestone, so now people have access to Wi-Fi. But we'll set like a proper server farm facility eventually again at some point down the line. And then we come down here now to kind of some tree line fields again, preparing to move into that farmscape with those tree linings. I think it's going to be quite a lot of fun. And then our little regional harbour here now. There's lots of industry around here, bits of office zone, and we also got a little store here that's actually selling convenience food, which is perfect, isn't it, for workers that might be working in the regional port. They can come here and get something to eat. And this place is also selling food as well, is it? No, he's selling paper. It's Neckbeard Mike's comics. What Neckbeard Mike is up to. But yeah, I just got some stores around here. Really love the way this turned out, like storing the kind of aggregate over by the port here, as if it's almost waiting to be kind of loaded onto a cargo ship one day. And when we do eventually get involved in those cargo harbours with the development tree, and we can definitely bring an idea like this in. So I really enjoyed that. And then we do just have some more industry along this little peninsula as well. And imagine as we knock these tiles on this regional port might become more of like an international port as it grows up maybe. Maybe we'll get the rail yard in here as well once it kind of expands and that demand comes in. So I think that's a way I'm really looking forward to playing CS2, is expanding existing areas in their size and scope rather than moving to a totally different area of the map and developing a cargo harbour over there. So I think that's going to be quite a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to getting involved in that kind of playstyle, I think. And we'll definitely continue this Terraform River out as well once we do get there. And I think we're going to bring this over here to kind of this little cove here, I think is where we'll take it over. But so many ideas, so much to do. And the downtown's slowly growing out here as well now. But I'm really looking the way you can kind of see over into the regional port there as well. That power plant makes a big difference as well, doesn't it? Of course, we're making money from selling power now as well. But I don't get too attached to this power line. I imagine once we can rework this over here, we will change this arrangement. There's also a transformer here as well, by the way, to convert it for the city as well as exporting it. So that's something to bear in mind also. Otherwise, guys, it's going to do it for today. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. If you've enjoyed it at any point, please do leave me a like, comment, or share below. It really helps grow the channel and bring the video to more people. Really enjoyed the way that Whiskey's regional harbour has developed here today. And looking forward to eventually developing that maybe into an international cargo port many years down the line, once that industry demand comes into it. But really nice to see the town grow out today, some more farming vibes starting to generate across the river as well. And we'll definitely spend an episode doing textiles, grain, and the other farm, which I can't remember, it's escaping me right now. Thanks for all support on the CS2 videos, the channel is doing so well at the minute. I'm glad you guys are just enjoying all the content we're getting out. Orchid Bay and Thessia will be back as well, but please do enjoy the amount of CS2 content while it's launch week. And a big shout out as well to all the patrons that are supporting the channel. Really appreciate all you guys do. And a roll call as well for Felix Wilkinson. Enjoy some brief cinematics of Edinburgh. Big thank to Ott as well for naming the city. Otherwise, let's thank you all so much for watching. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.